This is Kevin Conroy, and I am the goddamn Batman.
Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. It is 2016, folks. It's a brand new year for us. It's our fourth year coming up here in March, and this is another giant-sized episode. This will be episode 122 and 123. I'm, of course, TFG1 Mike, and joining me for the first time in God knows how long. I think the last episode he was on was Marvelous March last year with Superior Iron Man. I could be wrong, but it's JT from Saskaspoon.
Na Bat-Mite. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm back. It has been a while, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. And to kick off 2016, wow, I almost said 2015, folks, damn it. 2016, we're going to be talking about the 6-issue miniseries from DC Comics entitled Bat-Mite. The creative on this is Dan Jurgens on the writing, Corin Howell on the art, Mike Ate on colors, and a bunch of other people on letters and editing and all that stuff. We're going to start with the Divergence Bat-Mite special sneak peek. And we open up when in Gotham City with criminals kind of running out of what looks like a bank, potentially.
Well, some sort of a robbery.
Some sort of a robbery. And this whole thing kind of reminds me just this first couple of pages almost reminds me of the Batman the Animated Series opening.
A little bit, kind of shades of like that opening sequence with the two thugs from '89.
Yep.
And then Batman's putting bat fist to criminal scum face, and
Yep.
a third member of the percenters, I think you could call them, because all three of these.
We play the percentages. Yeah.
They've got the third members, drawing on him with a bazooka, and then means we're ready for everything, especially you. And then you from the
music,
just from the side, everything, cue music, and it's na Bat-Mite. And I just love that full page image where he's just like boot to the face, and the guy's just got this WTF look on it.
Yep.
And it's like the classic kind of nod to like the Filmation Batman when it's the classic, if you look at the comics, like from the Silver Age and all that, where Bat-Mite always has that one ear that's bent.
Yep. See, the thing with this is I was half hoping Corin Howell would put in Looney Tunes eyes, like Sludge in Transformers the movie, because I read an interview way back when this series first came out. I read an interview that I don't know, it was either Comic Book Resources or Comic Vine, or one of the major comic websites did with her and Dan Jurgens, the writer. And she said her style is pretty much kind of like, Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Looney Tunes kind of thing. And there's a lot of really, cool old, like, Scooby-Doo kind of references and stuff like that in this. And that's, like, the whole boot to the face thing. That's really what I was thinking. I was thinking of some weird Looney Tunes gag.
Yeah.
And I love the next panel where the criminals are like, who? Must have run out of Robins.
Oh, yeah. and then it's like, what kind of freak, kind of hurtful to somebody with body image issues.
Yeah.
And then Batman's like telling us like things got to hear trigger, and I love the look on the criminals on the ground behind Batman are crap in their drawers, and Batman's just like, it must be Thursday look on his face.
Yeah. And he runs, he gets them out of there, and
then the criminals, just because we didn't expect Bat Dwarf.
Hang on. One thing I hate about living in this place. They fucking use the intercom all the fucking time. Leave about 5 seconds of silence and then finish your thought. I'll figure it out in the editing.
So Batman rescues the two dudes from eternal damnation, and the third one draws on Bat-Mite and shoots him. And he's like, "Cruel world." And then he's like, "Hang on, kid. I'll get you to the hospital." "Did you say kid? Do I sound like a kid to you? I'm sleeping well. I'm sleeping well. Sing or sleeping. I bleep well. Sing bass in my band, or is it baritone? Tenor maybe. I get them mixed up." And I mean that's just the voice I'm using. But I mean, of the three incarnations of Bat-Mite in animation, you had Lou Scheimer, Pat Fraley, and Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole series, I just heard the Pat Fraley voice. I mean, it was only that one time in TAS that they ever had Bat-Mite, and it was a robot. But that's the voice I hear with this art.
Yeah.
I don't hear the Paul Rubens because I hear Paul Rubens and I just hear Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
But then
pretty soon you're going to see him as the Penguin's father. So
I know,
there is that.
And it's eerie how much he looks like Robin Taylor Lord.
Yeah, I know.
But so Bat-Mite kind of snaps at Batman, and Batman's kind of like, "The fuck?" Pardon my French. There's the violation to the FCC. And he's like, "You could have gotten those men killed because of you. That office was destroyed." It's like, my plan worked. I just love the WTF look on Batman's face.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of awesome. My plan worked, huh? And then he goes on about how he's got his Robins, his Batgirls, his whatever.
Or the Bat Cows.
Bat Cows. He's got this whole briefcase thing, and we go through it. He's like, "I'll say it again, Bats, therapy."
I still like that. "I can be a secret weapon." And Batman's like, "Nope."
Nope, not at all.
And you gotta love Batman's attitude. "If I ever see you again," I was like, that's what I love about Batman. This dude could be staring down the gun of a god, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna hurt you." And he essentially is. And then Bat-Mite, bamps off to like Times Square.
Yep. Oh. Fucking.
So I mean, Bat-Mite bamps off to Times Square, and he's pontificating that some of these heroes need repair jobs, and I'm just the guy to do it. As we end this preview, looking up at these billboards, and you see, Hawk and Dove and Superman and the Flash and Firestorm and, well, a fair gamut of the Justice League. I mean, all in all, this was a pretty decent teaser, I thought. So.
Alright, let's get going on this. Alright, folks, it is time after that drill we had. It's time for Bat-Mite issues 1 through 3 out of 6. In the first issue, we have the I love the original, the regular cover here. He's got Batman checked off, and who's next, and everybody else on the list, and it's like, oh my god, these poor heroes.
It's very much reminiscent of that X-Men Days of Future Past cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how everyone's just all kind of like looking down. In fact, the only, outside of Wonder Woman, like Dove and Dumb Bunny from the Inferior Five are the only heroes on here who are like, "Oh, he's so cute." Yeah, like you can't really tell. Like Superman's like, "Oh boy," Batman's, "Oh boy," Booster Gold's like, "The fuck?"
Yep. All right, so this one we started off with Bat-Mite imprisoned in his home dimension,
which is ostensibly the fifth dimension, but I don't think they ever established that. But he's before this tribunal, and the only acceptable penalty is death. I don't know. Let's make it a slow death. And he's just like,
see, I can't tell which is which. I know who they are now.
Yeah.
Obviously, since we read the end of it, but like I'm trying to think personality-wise, who would be who here.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you can assume it's that muffled, kind of ominous, "You have desecrated," that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because if you go with cartoon logic, I mean, that's what they all sound like before the hoods come down.
Yeah.
But basically, Bat-Mite has screwed up Royal yet again, according to the laws of his homeland, and they're all discussing, with the slowest death possible: hanging, electrocution, subjugation, amputation, castration. Bat-Mite's like, oh boy.
Gulp.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they decide to exile him to, the third dimension. They're like, finally, we're rid of him. He's someone else's problem now.
Mm-hmm.
And we come upon a couple of, mooks.
Yeah.
And there's mooks escaping from the Batman and the Batmobile. And I mean, I love they're kind of pragmatic, because he's like, how do you know? It's Batman. He always knows. No way I can outrun him. Do him. Consider him done. And I was like, yes, this works out so well for everyone else.
Yeah.
And then we find out it's Bat-Mite in the Batmobile, because he's like, where's the Bazooka? Or the Bat-Pedos? And the lasers? Why aren't there any lasers?
And the Batmobile itself is a combination of 75 plus years of design.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is...
There's 89.
It's got a little bit of 89 in it. It's got a little bit of animated series in it. The front end has a little bit of the old...
like the 1950s style with like the...
Where it was the actual bat on the front of it.
Yeah. I'd almost say with like the vein... Well, not veins, but like the angular bits. You could almost argue there's some of Batman Forever a little bit in it. It looks like a cool Batmobile. Sadly, it's not long for this world.
No,
because
not at all.
Bat-Mite didn't pull a page from Short Round's book and strap like 3 phone books each to his feet so he could actually see where he's going.
Yes.
And he's like...
Everyone knows the Batmobile should have bat chutes.
Yeah. or the Bat retro rockets. Abandoned ship. Every man for himself. Women and children second. Ever the hero, Bat-Mite.
Yeah.
And then, the mooks have gotten away. We killed Batman. And I love the driver. He's like, you might want to rethink that, because we see a rather ominous shadow in the road.
Uh-huh.
And we see some, well, not to play it down, but we see some rather general badassery from Batman. I mean, the dude leaps over a running car, throws a grenade onto it, sends it into a tree.
Yep.
And then he just, pimps in like he's wont to do and kicks their butt.
Yep. And we should say that these are 2 guys in surgical scrubs.
Yes. They're the nurse mooks.
Yeah.
And it's just like Bat-Mite, he bamps in versus Batman's pimping in. And he's like, whoa, a Batarang? You risk someone's life on a toy from Kangaroo Land? And Batman's like, you.
Yeah.
And Bat-Mite just goes on, and it's reminiscent of, like Robin from like the early days of TAS, where he just keeps going, and Batman's just like, ignore him, Bruce. Center your chi, USA. Like, and that's what I love about the art. Like Batman, you see he's just trying to keep his calm before he reaches out and starts throttling this imp from the 5th dimension.
All as I can think of, and I know this is going to be really, really, really bad because I know everyone hates the movie. Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone. Yeah. That's all I can think of.
He's like, Clark would never have to deal with this.
Yeah.
I do like the line from Batman. Suggestion number 1, pack a gun. Better yet, a laser. Or a bazooka. Tell me you wouldn't like to have a bazooka in your car and on your belt?
Yeah.
And then you see that Batman's rescued this kidnapped victim, and Bat selfie. And of course Batman's gone when he turns around, because that's what Batman does.
Yeah.
With the bat wing. or the bat plane, or some sundry other bat flying device that we have yet to learn the name of.
I just call it a bat plane or a bat wing.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. And he's like, "Oh well, I guess that explains how he got here. I'll have to take that for a spin too."
Yeah. And then he turns around, and it's funny you mentioned Looney Tunes before, because we get a shout out to Animaniacs.
Animaniacs, yeah. Hello, nurse. Yeah, that nurse is evil. I can already tell just by the look on her face. I can tell she's evil.
I mean, it's never. There's no flashing lights from an ambulance. She's carrying a purse to a crime scene.
Yeah,
and Bat-Mite's all like, "How you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, shut up!" And she's had some forethought, because she's brought pest repellent. she gasses Bat-Mite. Which you wouldn't think would work, given that he's a being from an alternate dimension, but I digress.
Yeah. See, I can kind of suspend my disbelief on the gas thing, because it is... With Bat-Mite and Mrs. Pidlick, they both are affected by our dimension in some way or another.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, Superman being affected by the yellow sun and
such
whatever
like
else, that kind of thing. So that doesn't really bother me at all.
Yeah. I mean, it makes it, in the terms of a cartoon, it's like, we all know the Looney Tunes are invulnerable, but that doesn't stop Bugs Bunny from taking a shot to the head now and again. Yeah. So
or Daffy.
Yeah. You're despicable.
Yeah. Hey, laughing boy, one bullet left. I know. I love that.
So we then move to the Addams Family, or the Haunted Mansion, this gothic Victorian looking sort of house. And, the nurse is watching over Bat-Mite as he comes to, and she drops some cold water on him. He's like, "Who do you think I am? Aquamite?"
Yeah.
And he's still trying to put the moves on her. And in walks Dr.
Drama.
And I'm just kind of like, Jesus, Cruella DeVille's got a sister.
Wow, no, that's even worse than Cruella. She almost looks like a coat hanger.
Oh, or a corpse.
Not a coat hanger, a
coat rack?
Yeah, one of those circular ones. Oh God, what the hell are they called? It's almost like an umbrella stand, a little bit.
Yeah. Some piece of furniture that's really thin and angly. So Bat-Mite starts commenting on her, and he picks up this mace that's just leaning against the wall, and so what's your story? Where are the rest of the tank sites? And she's like, "I'll thank you not to compare me to those barbarians."
Yeah.
And he's like, "How speaking of barbarians, what's with the skull crusher?" I love that line. And then he's like, "The acclaimed and revered Doc Trauma? Never heard of her."
Yep.
And it goes on. It's talking about, like, okay, she's a plastic surgeon, and I'm getting shades of Bruce Campbell's Surgeon General from Escape from L.A. here, because she's talking about, transplanting Bat-Mite's head onto a pig's body.
Yep. And
the nurse is backing her up. And...
Trapdoor in the old mansion? How wonderfully cliche.
I still like how he can't help but be a huge nerd, and that's what I love, how they've changed Bat-Mite's character since, like, Brave and the Bold, in the few appearances he's had, that he's like this giant pop cult. He's like Freakazoid, but not nearly as annoying. Because if you're really going to rate a suit, you got to do better. Like, knife me at the same time, or poison me with a glass of spiked wine. Like I tell my hero friends, you've got to up your game. And the nurse Ratchet's like this, and gasses him again. And now we're in, like, the requisite sub-basement.
The dungeon.
He's like, "Call me Agnes," the nurse says. He's like, "You don't look like an Agnes." Like, "How old are you?" 22, 24 tops, 97. I love is just how he gets pissed off, and it's like, you're not even sporting all original equipment.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're going by as we get to the end of the issue, Bat-Mite's locked in a cell with he sees there's other quote unquote patients here, and he gets the first little bit of kind of Stanley like alliteration. You diabolical debutantes of devilish deeds. Sorry, Stanley, I meant Burt Ward.
Yeah. The funny thing is, before he does that, we get a look into these cells, and one of them says, "Dude, if that's Batman, we're as good as dead."
Yeah. Yeah, he's just kind of like, you know what? I'm ready to meet my god. And then we see like the operating room with like these gnarly, surgical arms coming off the walls and like the requisite straps on the table, and Bat-Mite gets thrown in the cell with new Hawkman.
Yeah.
And he pops out a bat laser. And if only you know who we're here to witness this momentous occasion. And Batman's drugged out of his gourd, and Doc Trauma comes on the screen, and she intends to put her brain in Hawkman's body, and you just see the look of like absolute WTF on Bat-Mite's face.
Yeah, I loved this first issue because what Jurgens and Howell are doing,
it's like a cartoon set in the New 52. Like it is in continuity, but it's just slightly to the side.
It's slightly to the side, but it also is the thing of, you're having, it's almost like, now I know you're going to say blasphemy when I say this, but it's almost like the 90s cartoons came to modern day, but this is only better than any 90s comic at all, because it's just so awesome how they've got this set up. First of all, you've got all the other heroes pretty much in their New 52 garbs, for the most part. You've got their designs. You've got Howl is using the New 52 designs for the main heroes, and then she's using her own little style and touch tweaks for the original characters like Doc Trauma or Nurse Agnes or even Bat-Mite. I've never seen Bat-Mite look like this.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't have a problem with it at all. After reading this first issue, I was like, I can't wait till the second one because it was just so awesome.
Well, I mean, in the preview, Bat-Mite had like the blue and gray design, and then in that last where he's in New York City, they give him that slight. I don't know if it's they meant to do it or it's just because there's so much light. He has that purple and gray look, which is kind of that callback to the Filmation Bat-Mite design. And then you look here, he's just got the gray on, slightly darker gray.
The gray on black,
like for Batman. So the first issue was absolutely lovely. I'm definitely like I'm calling it now. I'm gonna get the trade of this. This is definitely something I would want to reread.
Oh, absolutely.
But
go ahead.
I was going to say, just if when you look again, speaking of Howell's art, when you look at the cover for issue 2, now first of all, I'm just going to say Hawkman is one of my favorite DC characters. There's something about the barbarian with wings motif, because we got basically 4 different designs. The one starting on the left, there's the green Hawkman, which I don't think he's ever used in the comics.
It's the Green Arrow meets Hawk. It's like, what if Green Arrow and Hawk Girl had a child?
Oh, Jesus. Well, if you take Hawk Girl from The Flash and Stephen Amell, that would be a beautiful baby. But moving on, you got the gray and gold, kind of slightly armored Hawkman from like the early to mid 90s. We have the second version of the Hawkman costume that the Golden Age wore with just like the straight up hood, and then we have like I like classic Hawkman, like classic Justice Society, satellite era Justice League.
Too many feathers.
Yeah, it's like too green, not enough feathers, too old, and I love the not so old, I can't put you over my knee look on Golden Age Hawkman's face.
Yeah,
and of course he's got like a notepad with shit, and clearly there's too many feathers because they're all over the goddamn ground.
Yep.
And we move in, and There's something. I mean, I know I don't think they're going for any Christ-like imagery, but they got this whole crucifixion look to Hawkman.
Yeah.
Where again he's still out cold and probably still irritated by Bat-Mite. Because this is it, Hawkster. Gut check time. We put up or shut up. Separate the men from the boys from the girls. Which I probably shouldn't say in this era of diversity and inclusion. And then we get a little more Birdwood, a venomous villain of vile virulence. And as soon as I read that, that scene from V for Vendetta goes off in my mind.
Yeah. Did you notice the title of the story for this issue?
Best episode of Justice League Unlimited ever. and I gotta say it because it bears mentioning, completely unrelated to the issue. But aren't you gonna wash your hands? No, cause I'm evil.
Yep.
The greatest line uttered by Clancy Brown ever.
Yep.
But he's talking, and then Doc Trauma's still in the TV, grinning like the Joker. Yeah, 200 plus years, as I told you, I knew the Frankensteins, some of them intimately. Victor was the clumsiest of lovers.
It's just so creepy.
Yeah, it's like that given his profession, his knowledge of female anatomy was not TMI!
Yeah.
So we see him, Bat-Mite's like pondering how to get out of this, and I mean, when all you can do is fly, it's pretty hard to compete with an hombre like Superman, know what I'm saying? Not if you agree.
Yeah.
And then, Bat-Mite, I know it says blipped, but I'm just going with Bamf.
Yeah.
And he bamps back to the study, and he brings back
the mace.
The mace and the armor and the gauntlets, and, he... 3 words. Full body max. And it was like, well, excuse me, he flies in the upper atmosphere a lot, and it gets cold up there.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Doc Trauma is like, what have you done? And I love Bat-Mite. How to fix the Hawk when so many have tried and failed before me. Now, I don't think that's a knock at Hawkman's history, and we could do an entire episode on the absolutely bat guano insane history of Hawkman. But in terms of his origins and everything, we see another shot of, we got, again, it's kind of like the cover, too feathery, and there's a shot of like the Hawkman from Kingdom Come. There's, what if the Silver Surfer was Hawkman?
Yeah.
What kind of thing? Or Robo Hawkman. We got Golden Age Hawkman and Classic Hawkman, and then Hawkbat. No, only a privileged few get to wear the cowl. And it's just, you see him, it's kind of like that scene, I imagine if this was a cartoon, it'd be like that scene in Aladdin where Genie's just, what does he need? What does he need? What does he need? And you see like Abu is just getting traumatized by all the random changes.
Yeah. God, I can't even remember all those. I can't even remember all those random changes, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then it's like, oh, yes, instead of the Savage Hawkman, which is what the Hawkman's title was in the New 52, we get Hawkman the Savage. And this is what Hawkman would have looked like if the kid from Axe Cop had designed him in the 1990s.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah.
He's got Wolverine-style claws. One hand has been replaced by the mace. He's got flame tattoos and other tattoos and no shoulder straps. And he's been waxed.
Yeah.
So basically the Mooks come back into play again. The Nurse Mooks. I love these guys.
And the gas worked before. Let's try it again.
Yeah. And it's like, when am I gonna learn? And they take them both. Bat-Mite gets tossed off a cliff by the Mooks, and we see something that a lot of Mooks is like, you want to dig the hole? Be my guest. Pistol, knife, going soft to me again, Cliffy. You think I like working for these old crows? Jobs are scarce, bro. And it just seems like something you see a lot. Whenever it's just 2 Mooks going about their business, they always mention like student loans or the wife's on me to pay the mortgage this month. And, so they toss Bat-Mite over the cliff. And honestly, with the references to Frankenstein, I thought they were going to like pop open Hawkman's gourd like a cantaloupe. And in this case, it's just literally electrodes and electrical, again, going to the whole great brain robberies aspect. Like, it's not as cool as I thought it would be. And we see Bat-Mite punch a shark.
Yeah. We see Bat-Mite punch a shark, and I love the way Jurgens writes his internal monologue. It's just so cool.
Yeah. I still like that where he comes out and they get like the flash of lightning, and it's like the Dark Mite returns.
Yep. And he almost, it looks like Howell has, at least in this image here, where the Dark Mite returns, it looks like she is pretty much. It's gray for most of the suit, but it's black for the cowl and for the cape and all that to kind of obviously reference Frank Miller and all that. I just love that.
Oh no, that's an awesome image. And Bat-Mite for a second, is like, I could just get the H out of here, and then he decides to do the right thing. Oh, so much for that. And now we've got gender identity issues Hawkman attacking him. It's like, you should be dead, and you should be on the Golden Girls, calling it best line of the issue.
Yeah.
It's like, you are the most irritating creature I've ever encountered. Hey, I just happen to think Hawkster will lose his spot in the Justice League. Can I have it pretty please with a Batawang on top?
Yeah.
And he's like, should I take that as a no?
Yeah. This issue is pretty awesome.
And you notice what another Adam West Batman reference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where Bat-Mite brings out the bulletproof bat shield to ward off a blow from the Hawk mace.
Yeah.
And I love how he references is like full with the gas because the Mooks are back with a gas gun.
Fool me once, twice, thrice. Yeah.
Only an idiot gets fooled 4 times.
Yeah.
And I love the look on his face where he's like, he gets the gun and,
say goodnight, Tweety.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's not quite, the momentum hasn't quite gone out of Hawkman yet. He flies right into the building.
Yep.
And I love how, he gets him back inside and strapped to the table. And I honestly thought they'd have an image of like Hawkman waking up in like Trauma's body. It's like, what? Why do I have boobs? Or something like just having Hawkman freaking out. But given that he's kind of a non-entity in these first couple of issues here, I love how he interrogates Agnes. Mm-hmm. Not bite it, snap. She bamps off somewhere. He's like 28, 29, 30. Brings her back in. It's like she's like, covered in seaweed. It's like, so you want to show me how to do this now?
Yep. And eventually, Hawkman gets his own body back, and
It's like, why is my shoulder so sore?
Yeah.
And then, 2 of the intended victims or patients end up kind of befriending Bat-Mite and take him home for the night.
Yeah. You think I'm Batman's sidekick? He's my sidekick. I made him. And Bat-Mite has a little not undue temper tantrum because, who do you think is responsible for busting this freak show? Not the Peacock. He's clueless. Mm-hmm. I love Not Shaggy here. He gets a name next issue. But Not Shaggy here is like, Mini Dude has a point. Yeah. And we kind of end with the introduction of the rest of the series villain, Gridlock. And I love the next. Bat-Mite and Robin, the dynamic duo they ain't.
Yeah. This second issue, it's a lot of fun, and it just continues the not completely out of balance wackiness that this series has had thus far.
Yeah, and Jurgens on right. Like, I've been so anti DC the last year and a half or so, just because of all the we're gonna reboot the reboot and blah 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 blah, and
Bruce Wayne's not Batman.
We need we need more money, so let's take everything back to a number one again, and blah 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 blah. And it hasn't really been. Or hey, let's take something really good and kidify it up and continue the series. Why not just end it on the good note that it was, instead of having to have issue 35 to whatever be the kidified version of anyway. But Bat-Mite, and something that probably Steve and I will be doing eventually, Batman Beyond, the other series Dan Jurgens is writing with Bernard Chang on art on that one. Those two series are really the two superhero series I'm reading at DC. I mean, I know Bat-Mite was only a 6-issue miniseries, but like, I essentially have no DC anything anymore other than Batman Beyond and obviously He-Man. But the He-Man thing, it's DC, but it's a license for them. It's not their, like, it's, you know, it's not their character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So DC, I'm so far removed from DC other than Bat-Mite, Batman Beyond, and He-Man. I just don't care for DC anymore, which 4 years ago, the beginning of this podcast, that's all it was going to be, was DC.
Yeah. No, I'm currently only getting like 4 DC titles, and 2 of them are, well, they're both, there's Justice League and Justice League of America, and then actually 5, Aquaman, Flash, and Green Lantern, but, you know.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised, like, I gotta say it now, I'm honestly surprised, like, Jan Jurgens is one of my all-time favorite DC artists, like, he is my Superman artist,
Yeah.
and and I know he can write, like, I've read stuff he's written before, but I'm honestly surprised at how much, how he's balanced the, like, keeping the story flowing and not letting it get drowned in, like, jokes and gags and whatnot.
He's killing the story on this, and even in Batman Beyond, I mean, I know they're two very, very different things, obviously, between Batman and Batman Beyond, but the way I look at it is Batman Beyond is his way to get serious storytelling done, and this is him and Corn Howell on the art being able to just have some fun. And that's really, for me, that's what I needed from DC, was fun, because everything else that's the mainstream news 52, whatever the hell they're calling it, the DCU now, YOU. Oh God, I just needed some fun out of the DC superheroes, and this is what I got, and I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah.
You're not from around here, are you?
I'm from the 5th dimension. Beings from my realm have powers that you 3Ds take for magical.
A friend of mine in Metropolis told me about menaces like you.
I'm not a menace. You're my hero.
Green Arrow's gonna love this.
Green Arrow? PU! Flash, Plastic Man, please. They're not fit to buff your Batarang.
All right, folks, we are back. We took a little break. We're
Technical difficulties.
I don't. Yeah. You know, I really wanted to see Bat-Mite go up against the Joker, but sadly no. But we start here with issue 3, and how we're going to do this, because of the technical difficulties, we're going to do 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. So there we go. That works. So the one more break after issue 4 here, but issue 3 starts out with the regular cover of Bat-Mite hanging upside down and a Bat-Mite bucket dumping water over Damian's stupid head.
He's just trying to make the kid lighten up, which I'm fairly certain if Damian Wayne ever smiled, the universe would come to a screaming halt. But it's kind of like when Mandy smiled in that episode of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and All Life as We Know It came to it's total protonic reversal. So,
yeah, I think for me, the world will rejoice in laughter and enjoyment once Damian dies permanently. Worst character in Batman history.
Seriously?
Yes, seriously.
You're discounting Asbats.
It's worst Batman sidekick character in history of Batman.
A spoiler.
She wasn't that bad.
She started a gang war in Gotham, ignorant of the purpose of the plan Batman had set forth, and then they killed her, and then they unkilled her because of fan outcry, and they made her Robin for all of 3 issues.
And what did they do to Jason Todd? They did that. Well, actually, the fans did that. The fans killed him, and then they brought him back.
And he's a badass.
Yeah. So whatever. Anyway, Bat-Mite issue 3. We start with Bat-Mite doing narration with Robin underwater.
You know, he's blowing up the Batmobile so no one gets. And I love how he's even, as much as he claims not to be his father, as most guys do. You know, he's narrating his life the way Batman tended to do back in like the 50s. You know, the charges are set. Father describes this thief as an imp, a prankster, more like a devil, one deserving of punishment. And you almost could hear his voice like descending octaves like that until he gets to the "swear to me" sort of thing.
Yeah,
and
I love the Bat-Mite monologue though.
Yeah.
So he sent the runt.
Yeah, and we see Damien gets almost gets ambushed by the series villain Gridlock, who, until I saw him actually name himself Gridlock in that last issue, I thought he kind of looked like this old JSA villain Baron Blitzkrieg.
Yeah,
kind of the same bucket head sort of design. But I love Gridlock's powers. He touches you, and you basically your body locks up. Not unlike Gridlock.
Now, see, there's a problem I have. Well, there was a guy. Well, have you read the Transformers animated Rid cartoon comic? IDW?
I haven't yet.
Okay, well, in one of the first 5 issues, in one of the issues, I think it's either issue 2 or issue 3, I forget. There's a new bus former called Transit. And as soon as I saw Gridlock here, and I'm like, hey, where's Transit when you really need him?
Yeah. No.
So yeah, one touch from Gridlock and you don't move. So at least we get some nice apartment drama.
Oh yeah, from Weed and Reagan. Like, okay, so yeah, he's got not Shaggy. His name is Weed, or that's a nickname as we learn shortly. I love Weed sitting there. He's like so many other young adults.
He's eating his Booster Puff cereal.
Booster Gold Crisp.
Yeah, no.
And they're basically talking about how they put Bat-Mite up for the night, and you know he leaves today, right? If he ever gets out of the bathroom, and he comes out. I just love the image of, you know, the toilet overflowing, Bat-Mite with a 5 o'clock shadow. He's got a stogie and a bottle of brew,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What? Like, could you be any more Oscar from The Odd Couple, sir?"
That is some Irish Guinness right there in a bottle.
I mean, it's I've had shower beer now and again, you know.
The only problem is that's a 3-leaf clover, not a 4-leaf clover.
Well, maybe it's 3-leaf brand beer, like,
oh jeez,
or Cool Brow as they used to sell in Superman comics. So, and we get a little nod to Joel Schumacher. We get a little Bat-Mite tush, and
wait, why is that a nod to Schumacher?
Ass shot.
Okay, yeah, but that was in costume. That wasn't. It's not like, yeah, this is completely different. That's. Yeah.
Well, the way they had those pants molded onto Batman and Robin left very little to the imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. There's water everywhere, and you aren't even dressed. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to offend your delicate sensibilities. You know, so he costumes up and cleans everything up, and I love that. It's like, what's your real name? I can't call you Tut-Tut, my dear. If my true identity became public knowledge, it would compromise my effectiveness as a nemesis of evil. And she's like, right.
And what's with the name? Grass and Shroom already taken?
Yeah, he's chilling with Weed, and he's like, it's a nickname, man. Dylan Waden. Which is kind of cool of a last name, and I don't think the guy's actually a big stoner, even though he's tried to look like a huge stoner.
Yeah.
And I love Bat-Mite's thing. It's like, and here I thought you were a wannabe horticulturalist. Ew, you're out of head cheese. I was like, of course Bat-Mite would like head cheese. Only a being from the fifth dimension would enjoy such a gross concoction.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up later, but after reading this series, I really, really want a Bat-Mite from these creators, from Jurgens and Howell. I want a Bat-Mite Mixias Pitalik team up miniseries. Can you imagine?
Or a one shot, yeah. And especially
Oh.
you got and you if they they've introduced Mixie into the new 52. I honestly I haven't read anything aside from Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern, and the Justice League. Like I kind of stayed away. The only Batman I read was like Death of the Family and then Endgame. So
Yeah.
and I haven't read the adventures of Commissioner Gordon as the Dark Knight detective. So
I read 41. 41 was I gotta go back
Yeah.
to it eventually, but no, I mean like just imagine, okay, Brave and the Bold, Paul Rubens as Bat-Mite, and Gilbert frigging Gottfried from STAS as Mixie, and oh my god, that would be gold.
on so many levels.
Yeah.
And
So the
yet, every time I say Paul Rubens and Gilbert Gottfried, I can't help but think of the principal from Problem Child and the spleen from Mystery Men. Since I was the one who smelt it, I would forever be the one who dealt it.
Oh god.
I love that
So
movie. Anyway, Reagan goes to work and she gets picked up by her boss, who's Director Paulson. Apparently, she's not an assurance agent. She works for the Federal Security Bureau, which FSB, which is kind of the initials for the Russian security service. I don't think she's a Russian sleeper agent, but who knows? And it's basically Paulson wants to know everything about Bat-Mite. He wants to know what's the connection to Batman. Reagan wants to get as far away from the annoying little imp as possible, who she claims can irritate the most patient of saints.
yes.
And he's like, well, tough rocks, kid. This is your case now. And,
Oh,
so we go back to, Weed, Bat-Mite.
Yes.
And you see a news... they're actually getting...
Weed's trying to explain the Brady Bunch to him.
Yeah.
That the show is actors, the story is made up, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. They get a news report. This amazing footage showing Robin in jeopardy. What? Say what?
At the end, I love the alliteration. Zounds, some pestiferous person of perniciously poisonous purpose has kidnapped my sidekick's sidekick. And, he bamfs off to...
Zounds per what?
yes.
Hey, wait, is Weed wearing a Batman shirt?
Yes, he is.
Oh my god! That's funny.
And then he goes, and we got, a little Pit in the Pendulum action with a Shark Tank here. Damien's, like, nonplussed to see him.
Yeah, fear not, Boy Wonder. What did you call me? This is not Dick Grayson. That's not going to fly with Dickhead Damien.
Oh, yeah. But possibly my favorite call-out to the Adam West show in a Batman comic so far. The Bat-Mite, of course, has a can of shark-repellent bat spray.
Yes, he does.
My inner child was squeeing so hard when I read this.
The only problem with this, and I actually have a screenshot somewhere. I'll have to show it to you after the recording, and I'll have to put it in the post. From the 66 show, there was a screenshot in one of the episodes where they show all the different varieties of bat spray. The only problem I have with this is it doesn't actually say bat shark repellent. It just says shark repellent with a really fake-looking picture of Jaws, because as we all know, the sharks still look fake.
It's like because that was from the Batman movie.
Yeah.
Where Robin was like octopi, dolphin,
Yeah.
tuna. No, it's shark. Remember the dialogue. It's shark repellent bat spray.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, it basically looks like he just sprays like a crap ton of crazy foam into the shark's mouth. And I love his comment. I see more sharks than Aquaman. It's like every week is Shark Week, and Damien's like, I don't need your help. and it's
A filet-o Robin, if not for me.
yeah. So Damien, gets out of it because he's half Batman and half assassin.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love Bat-Mite. You realize, of course, that I taught him everything he knows, right? Right? And I love that I deserve gratitude, not batitude. Or
Gratitude,
yeah. And I love that.
You're a fraud, a huckster, a charlatan. Why so... Now, this is where I heard Adam West as Bat-Mite. Why so glum, chum?
Yeah.
God, can you imagine Adam West as the... Oh, God, that would
Adam
be so
West
awesome.
is Bat-Mite. Oh, that makes me smile at a special place.
That would be so
Or
awesome.
Adam West is... No, animate this into a DC. This is what you got to do. Help my brother out. You make this miniseries into a one-shot animated movie. Adam West is Gridlock. But anyway, they argue, and Damian takes a swing at Bat-Mite, and Gridlock shows up. And I love that. Unreasoning children, incapable of true problem-solving ability. You're so self-obsessed and focused on yourselves that all you can do is fight. And then Bat-Mite, only because it's on page 37 of the superhero manual.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get I love this. Let's see, Gridlock, you say, never heard of him, which means he's a newbie. I can life coach both of you guys. and just the look of joy in the following panel squee that Bat-Mite has, I was just like, God, I just want like a plush figure of Bat-Mite.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, they're confronting Gridlock, and he's kind of sort of spelling out his plans. And I love that.
I love Bats asked me to stand in. Liar.
Yeah. You really need a sense of humor, Junior. And I love that it's like he said a child. Did you just call me a kid? I'm getting really tired of that, bub.
Uh-huh.
And I like that I down a 6-pack of one of Cuba's finest before work. And again, this is totally where the dialogue that Gridlock has, I could totally see Adam West voicing this character, especially if he's saying it straight.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And then he takes a shot at the modern teen for and bitching about how 140, like at Facebook and social media, like 140 characters is a novel, a forward text is the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah, I love the next panels though.
Yeah,
I don't seem so unreasonable now, do I?
Nope.
No comment.
Yeah.
It's time to pull the goalie.
Yeah, and
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, and then we get an energy or an extra dimensional batarang.
Yeah. Good.
I just love his Bat-Mite's like dance of joy. Is like, I dropped another bad guy, like a festering boil on the butts of supervillains everywhere. And then you're like, you defend Generation Selfie? Like the world was perfect 50 years ago. And Bat-Mite has a point. For as much as I'm not a huge fan myself of today's generation, because Lord knows I can't listen to the radio anymore. The world was...
Ladies and gentlemen, the only radio station you should be listening to is Louisville's Classic Hits, 107.7 The Eagle. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Gratuitous plug. Achieved.
Yeah.
But I just love Bat-Mite's comment, like the world was perfect 50 years ago. Because it's never been perfect. We have to, strive towards that sort of thing. But Bat-Mite gets taken out by Gridlock and, tossed to the sharks. Mm-hmm. And Damian's just like, son of a bitch. I mean,
nuts.
He says nuts, but we all know what he's thinking. And it turns out that, I love the X'd out eyes on Bat-Mite, and
yeah.
That Damian gives him mouth to mouth. And I love Damian's, I knew you cared. I take no joy in saving you.
Man, oh God, I can't believe he threw in a Jerry Maguire line.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I still like the look of Batman. He's like, say it. Say it.
And he just punches him.
I know, he punches him, and, Bat-Mite gets officially loose, fed up, and takes off.
Damien Downer.
Yeah. And then Damien starts maniacally laughing, as I'm sure Batman does once the lights are out in the Batcave and Alfred's gone to bed. But we end the issue with Damien laughing maniacally and Booster Gold and Skeet showing up to apparently take on Gridlock.
Yeah.
And I love that. What the heck is a Bat-Mite?
Yeah. Issue 3, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really fun. And everyone should know, I am the biggest hater of Damian Wayne. I cannot stand every single thing about that character. Bruce Wayne already had a son. Not a biological son, but he already had a son. Well, he's had several. But the main one, obviously, is Dick Grayson. And I just don't give a crap about Damian Wayne. But I will preface this in saying, after I've said all that, I will say that Jurgens really made me enjoy Damian in this issue.
Yeah, it's. I wish him luck in the surgery to get the telephone removed from his backside. Yeah. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, this issue was a lot of fun, and it's just it wasn't as I say kinetically fun as the last issue with the fight versus gender identity changed Hawkman.
Yeah.
Or Hawkman the Savage, but it was a lot of fun all the same, and we get a little more kind of insight into Gridlock, who's on this kind of restore America to what he thinks is the right way.
Gridlock 2016.
Yeah.
No, seriously, if you look at this comic and you look at this villain, I mean, come on now. Gridlock is trumping all the cards here.
Oh yeah. But we move on to issue 4. The cover I kind of dig is Skeet's, Booster, and Bat-Mite in. It looks like
a museum,
some sort of nerd museum, because you've got action figures and there's a shot of Maxwell Smart, which I thought was really cool on the cover.
Wait, is there really?
Yeah, left side, that dude holding a shoe up to his face.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I got you.
And
missed it by that much.
And I love how they made it so Steve Carell had to say it like Don Adams.
I'm sorry, there is no Get Smart past Don Adams. There just isn't. That movie is an abomination.
No, really, Mike. Tell us how you really feel.
I just did. So we open this issue with Weed and Reagan talking about Bat-Mite and she's getting fed up, and he's.
Well, she can get fed up all she wants. She's under order from the American federal government to find out everything she can about him.
Yeah, I know, but is it just me, or no? I don't know, because this and the Batman Beyond series are my first real introductions to Jurgens' writing. Is it just me, or is Reagan and Weed supposed to be Velma and Shaggy? I mean, just the way they're interacting with each other here.
I don't think Velma's ever been this much of a bitch. So
Daphne and Shaggy. But what I'm saying is, when Velma eventually goes off the handle, she kind of will talk like this.
Great. Now I'm thinking Linda Cardellini for the voice of Reagan in the animated film.
Yeah. So
they've gone shopping as roommates are wont to do, and they're coming back. Mm-hmm. They're bitching. Well, Reagan's bitching about Bat-Mite, and Weed's.
You smell smoke.
Yeah. He's like, "Hey kids, you're just in time," and I was like, "Okay, you've burnt down half the kitchen. Why is there a rat shoved into what looks like some other jar in the fridge? There appears to be an octopus in that jar."
Yeah.
And he's made what looks to be like an awesome sub sandwich.
Yes.
But then there's a fish glued to the cupboard door, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
I love, you talk about the alliteration here, but I love this. This twisted toaster oven of torturous torment torched itself. You're lucky I was here to extinguish the blaze. I love that.
The fiendish fire is finished. And then Reagan justifiably loses it on Bat-Mite after his shenanigans have destroyed a photo album that contains like some of the only pictures of her family.
Right.
And I can understand her rage right there, because like, dude, like, why was it in the kitchen? So I wanted to, and you can understand Bat-Mite's logic, but at the same time, dude, like, party foul.
Yeah. I love Weed's finally starting to get angry with him. And then the next panel goes, if you use as much oil as I think you did, that'd do it. Gadzooks, could that be the trouble alert signaling impending doom?
Well, if only because you want to avoid dealing with the consequences of your actions. And then it's I love Skeets. It's Skeets, and Bat-Mite all of a sudden is like, what the what? What is this fuckery?
Yeah.
And Eddie Bat is like, what if you're an executron? And, he bamfs out of somewhere, and I love Skeets. I'm afraid that I have no idea what an executron is.
Yep.
And then it's...
all I can hear is Billy West when I see Skeets now.
Yeah. And as much as I loved... oh, God, I can't remember his name. That voiced... something Scott that voiced the Booster in JLU. I hear the voice of the dude from Smallville. I'm sorry. I love the Smallville version of Booster Gold so much.
Yeah.
It was just the right mix of Steve Rogers and Superman with just a little bit of shyster in his voice.
Yeah.
And I love Booster does our job and calls him out and, yo, Shaggy, before you hop in the Mystery Machine to pick up Velma and the crew, mind telling me where Bat-Mite is? And then Bat-Mite bamps back in and poofs off with Booster to deal with thus setting up the issue. And I love Weed's like, I was going to get his autograph. and again, yes, Billy West's voice comes out of Skeets. It's like, I'm sure Booster will happily comply when we concluded our business with Mr. Whedon, provided we're all still alive, of course.
Yeah.
And I love Bat-Mite. He's trying to scare the crap out of Booster, and then he's surprised to find that Booster can fly.
Yeah. What's a Sentry Silent anyway? Because he's assumed
that Booster is something called the Sentry Silent, which
is something from his dimension.
Yeah.
That is supposed to hunt him down.
So, the Guardians of the Omnicron, of course, and Booster's naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're teamed up to, of course, more alliteration, the terrible traitor of tomorrow to be.
Yeah.
It's just, this whole thing is where Bat-Mite and Booster play off each other. They play off each other so well with just the smack talk.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going after Gridlock because he's trying to halt progress and turn back the clock to a simpler time, as villains are wont to do. Let's go with your name. And then basically, Bat-Mite, of course, goes into full-on life coach mode. And the problem is, you're loaded with problems of your own. You need fixing, probably more than anyone I've ever met.
I love this part. Makeover! He's back. What do you think, Jiminy? Oh, God, they got the Jiminy Cricket reference in here.
I love that fun. We'll never use you as a resource again. And it's like, dark gold. Or black gold. I was like, Jesus Christ, somebody found the somebody found the last remaining can of 90s and poured it all over Booster.
Yeah, Shadow Boost. Goldmonger. That's funny.
Gold Lantern, Gold Fist, the man with the golden arm. Better not go there. Boosterine, Boost Eroticus. Wait, I've got it. We'll play the Grim and Gritty card.
And all I can think of is that series, that oil series on A&E or TN, one of them, History Channel. There's
Is it the one with Don Johnson?
No. It's one of those reality shows, like Pawn Stars, like Storage Wars. It's called Black Gold. It's on one of the silly networks. Skeets, please tell me you aren't recording this.
You
program me to record all your exploits, sir.
I like that. No, not this one. That's it. Get mad. Get vicious, mean, and nasty. Fans love that. And whatever you do, never, ever, ever, ever smile. And I just, geez, like, I love Jurgens. Like, Jurgens to me is like, and I love Jeff Loeb's work because they both have like a huge fanboy love for the great history of DC Comics. Mm-hmm. Except Jeff Loeb kind of
he goes a little crazy.
He goes a little crazy, and he kind of refuses to take off the rose-colored glasses of nostalgia a lot. Like, I love his stuff, but sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does. But I find Jurgens to be a lot more even-keeled when it comes to his writing. So they bamf off to Gridlock's museum. You know, again, it's the nerd cave we saw on the cover. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that Gridlock is just a huge nerd. Like, he's got mint in condition comics and action figures, and you can see
the Fortress of Loctitude.
Yeah. You see in one of the glass tubes, it looks like Marty's outfit, or like Michael J. Fox's outfit from Back to the Future and such. And I love Bat-Mite's. You hear an off-camera comment from Gridlock, and then Bat-Mite's line, "Gird your loins, people." Say what?
Yeah.
It's like, the ultimate fanboy is here. How dare you invade my vault of timelessness? No one is allowed here but me.
You know, the one person I keep thinking about that Gridlock really should be is that guy, David something or other, from Once and Future, from the Once and Future thing.
Oh, yeah. Voiced by Peter McNichol.
Yeah, the guy whose wife is constantly yelling at him.
Oh, that would be like the cruelest fate ever, to get stuck in that time loop. It's like, what have you done with your life?
You know, people often wonder if Batman has a sense of humor. He sure as hell does, because he sure as hell smiled when he said, "Oh, I wouldn't worry about him. He'll never come to exist, or he'll, time."
I've taken care of it.
Just that whole episode, that whole end of the episode where, and I know we're getting off on a tangent here, folks, but the whole end of the episode where John and Batman are trying to catch him, and John's like, "Oh, the Green Lanterns have a legend, no one's ever supposed to see the beginning of time," and Batman's like, "Write him a ticket."
No, that's definitely one of the better episodes, especially where they have the Batman meet Batman, or have you already met? What's that called? Stereo?
Yeah. Not now. What they used to call that? Stereo?
Yeah.
So we get back to this, and
they start fighting, and Gridlock lays it out even more what he's going to do. And basically, he's not so much going to stop the passage of time, but he can stop its effect so nothing changes. And he's essentially comic book guy from The Simpsons if he had superpowers, and that he wants to preserve the world at a certain point, to what he envisions as being its best. And I love Booster's line where, "Best for 10-year-old you, maybe." Mm-hmm. And you don't get to force culture down the throats of the young. And he goes he gets kicked back into a sealed case of comic books, and he's like, "You've ruined all my things."
Yep.
And I do like Bat-Mite's, "You beef about a 9.8 instead of 10?"
I love as we get further along here, Bat-Mite puts on a rubber kitchen glove, and then it's not even on him anymore. But oh no,
he's taking his utility belt.
Utility belt. That's what it is. Okay. See, I thought and he pulls out the bazooka and he fires. Your horrific horror of haughty heirlooms will be harnessed. And everything goes boom.
Yeah. Also, he forgot in the redesign to keep the force field, so Booster got locked up by gridlock.
Yep.
And I still like that. Bat-Mite, this one's going right up your nostril.
Yeah.
You know, Bat-Mite, have you blown a logic circuit? I am guided by my in-depth study of Batman's tactics, and he surely would have learned from you. Yes, of course. What? His treasures would have been preserved impeccably for decades. Losing them would be tragic. Our only hope of saving them is for you to restore Booster to his accurate self. And so I'm sorry, I just can't get over the sheer ugliness of the black gold design. Like, I mean, I love the 90s.
It's so ugly, it's awesome.
Yeah, I love a lot of 90s comic books, mainly DC, but God damn, that's ugly.
So he changes Booster back to his original thing, which is going to be a running gag. And I love how we get to later where Bat-Mite asks Skeets, "You're a security droid, right? Can you come in and protect me?" And he basically says, and I can all but hear Anthony Daniels. "I'm afraid not, sir. So I guess you aren't the droid I was looking for."
Yeah. I do like it, though, that Booster, like, Bat-Mite did restore Booster, and he was able to,
get the album.
Well, he gets the photo album back for Reagan. He kind of protects, like, the Gridlock's collection for whatever real reason.
Yeah.
But he goes back, and Reagan's like, "Oh my God!"
Yep.
And she's like, "You could stay forever." And I just love she's sitting there and she's all mopey at the kitchen table, and Bat-Mite bamps in, and even Weed's like, "Dude, not a good move."
Yeah.
And then I love, like, Bat-Mite's, like, you can see him, he's kind of taking and digging his toe into the floor kind of move, like, he's just not wanting to deal with this. And, Reagan forgives him, and you hear a news report of the Inferior Five, which leads into our next issue.
Which we will get to after this.
I can't! My imagination is running away with me!
All right, folks, we are back, and it is time for the Inferior 5 Superior 6. Okay, this issue's probably going to be all you, because I have no clue who these people are.
Well, a very brief history lesson. The Inferior Five were this also team of kind of also-ran characters that were kind of a parody of the Fantastic Four that was originally showcased in Showcase back in, like, 66. And it's basically just one of the first examples of self-referential meta humor in DC Comics, who have popped up now and again throughout the years, in most notably just in cameos, because I think they only ever actually appeared in, like, 2 issues of Showcase. And it's just it's a concept that DC kind of goes back to the well now and again when they need some crowd filler, or if somebody comes up with a unique take on using the characters. Like Dumb Bunny made a cameo appearance in Grant Morrison's Seven Soldiers of Victory. Merryman's the King of Limbo in Superman tie-in miniseries, The Final Crisis. And they're also managed to team up with the Legion of Substitute Heroes in an issue of The Brave and the Bold, the second series that ran a few years ago. So they're just kind of goofy, fun characters from like that wacky creative period in the 60s at DC.
Yeah, Awkward Man kind of looks like a Aquaman, Batman tick. Just just because of the blue in the ears and whatever. But yeah. The Green Lantern-like character, what's he called? The Blimp. Yeah,
the Blimp.
He looks more like the Blob, not the Blimp.
Oh yeah, the Blimp, Merryman, Awkward Man, Dumb Bunny, and White Feather. Together, they are heroism personified. Or at least they'd like to think they are.
Yeah. So Batman,
Bat-Mite.
Whatever. Same difference.
So
he's hopped up on coffee. When did this issue originally come out? Oh man, because Corin Howell so missed. If this came out right before the holidays, but I think it came out after that. I don't remember. She missed out on making the cups red.
Oh God, that whole yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. I just love the fact that the coffee Bat-Mite's getting, like the coffees he's grabbed, are about the size of a 7-Eleven Slurpee.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just kind of like, no, dude, you don't need. Oh God, he's drinking the whole thing. But yeah, so but in answer to your question, I was just looking here. This came out the cover
October.
Yeah, mid-October.
The digital release was both October. So I wonder if the Star Screw cups were out by then.
I believe they were.
Damn it. That would have been so funny if she made it red. Anyway.
So Bat-Mite's fueling up to fight crime, and I love that Bat-Mite, if he hadn't stopped for coffee 3 times, we'd have lost him a long time ago. And it's like, I dare not dally, my friends, not when the entire city is imperiled, as immense catastrophe looms, with total annihilation and destruction threatening to obliterate all we hold dear, for the day has come. And it's basically all setting up. Gridlock and his minions are fighting the inferior 5. And I like the Blimp. He can fly if the wind's with him. White Feather, fearless except when he's scared, which is all the time. Tough Bunny, no longer Dumb Bunny, strong and tougher than an ox. Merryman, our leader. He used to be a 97-pound weakling before he lost weight. Awkward Man, what might, what power, what... Oops. Yeah, no, I definitely... Well, I mean, Awkward Man was out before the Tick, but I can see where the Tick may have taken...
It's just in that one shot when you first see him, or it's like in the panel where he's like, "I'll save Oops," and Tough Bunny's like, "Jinkies." Like the way that his face is, and the way that because Awkward Man, like I said, he's got his boots are essentially flippers like Aquaman or whatever else, and his ears on the top, it looks like the Tick ears, the whole whatever
antenna.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I still love the, again, the alliteration of something we both love, is the inferior 5 are fighting the grody, grungy, grossified grave robbers of Gridlock. He's like, you know what? I take it back. As much as I love Paul Rubens, as much as I love Pat Fraley, we need to get Burt Ward to voice this version of Bat-Mite.
Yes. Oh my God, it would be so hilarious. Oh God. Oh.
Because he's still got it.
Yeah, I know, but no. Imagine this, okay? You take the Bat-Mite that we have, all right, in this 6-issue miniseries, and you add Firestorm powers to him. Not the actual powers of Firestorm, but the inner voices. The inner voice is Adam West. What he actually says is Burt Ward. The internal monologues from the previous issues are Adam West, but everything else that actually comes out of his mouth.
The gray box narration is Adam.
Yes.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
Oh god, that would be so awesome.
All right, so I love Reagan. Inferior who? Inferior 5, Reagan, a self-styled group of heroes who believe they can make a difference. Unfortunately, if they have to battle anything more than a bowl of mashed potatoes, they have no chance. And then he brings up this giant bucket of coffee that he sucks back in one shot, and then just the swirly eyes, and all of a sudden he is just glowing with the power of caffeine.
Yeah. Ah, that's the ticket. Crime Busters convene!
And you almost hear this and then he's like, "You're tough, buddy, right? Oh, hi, Batman. Well, we're almost identical, but I'm not." And I love how Awkward Man fights crime. He fights it by with the power, all the powers of Archie Andrews.
Yes.
And he throws, Tough Bunny. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm calling her Dumb Bunny because that's what she was. And there's really I don't think there's any harm in calling her that. But no. Dumb Bunny throws Awkward Man at the blimp, who, is sent careening into a bunch of the goons. Who? Hired goons. I didn't hire any goons. Yeah. You see the White Feather losing his shit. And
okay, he's called the White Feather, yet he's dressed in orange. What the hell?
It was the 60s.
Oh, God.
Just don't watch. Okay, and Bat-Mite is like, performance anxiety. Guess that's what happens when you're afraid of your own shadow.
Yep.
I do like that burn, the female goons, and how progressive that they have female goons.
Yeah.
But she's like, that archer is so chicken that he couldn't hit the ground if he fell out of an airplane. Bat-Mite's like, interesting choice of words. Nice move, Awkward Man. Yes, exactly as I planned. And then we see the nurse goons from the first couple issues. Like, hey, you guys, I love that. Hey, you guys found new jobs. Had to, since you put Jock Trauma behind bars before she could pay us. And we got those student loans, man.
I really, really wanted the other guy to be called Norm.
No. Here's what you do. You get Paul Rubens to voice Bat-Mite in the animated film. You get Adam Ward and Burst Wet to voice the goons.
No. I'm saying because one of them is called Cliffy.
Oh yeah,
Cliff Clavin, Norm.
Well,
Cheers.
You could do that, but I mean, think about it. You get either Cliff and Norm to voice the goons, or you get Adam West and Burt Ward, and either way, it's comic gold.
Yeah. And
Merryman tries to take on some like WWE wrestlers size of goons, and Bat-Mite bamps him off, and he brings them all together just as this giant robot comes crashing out of the building.
All I can think of is, it's Turbo Man!
It's Turbo time! Yeah. And the robot vaguely looks like Robbie the Robot, and it takes off, and everyone kind of loses their shit on Bat-Mite, and then I still love that. Have you any concept as to what's happened? Any idea of the soul-crushing loss Gridlock has inflicted on the world? Bat-Mite's, okay, I'll bite. And essentially he's stolen the heretofore unknown original pilot to the in-universe version of Star Trek.
Galaxy Trek.
Yeah.
It's ladies and gentlemen, it's a combination of Galaxy Quest and Star Trek.
Yes. And I may alternatively refer to it as Galaxy Quest or Star Trek.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically he's Gridlock is, because he's this huge nerd obsessed with the past, and aren't we all to some point? Yes. He's stolen the unknown secret double secret probation pilot of Star Trek. And it's only the greatest thing ever, and the museum was going to show it tonight. So, and Bat-Mite's like, so that's what the irreplaceable artifact was? A TV show? And Merryman just straight grabs Bat-Mite. Is like, I am going to jack you up. With all the nerd rage that his 96-pound body could muster.
Yep.
And then they all decide to team up. And I love Batman. Whatever you say, Batman, says Tough Bunny, Dumb Bunny, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's
yeah.
like, okay, the path is clear. If anyone was crying out for my help, it's you guys.
It's you guys.
And basically, they become like updated 90s versions of themselves.
Yeah. At least White Feather is actually white this time. As far as his costume goes. So that's something good. I like the redesigns. They're cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Well, aside from Merryman having the 80s style mohawk sort of thing, I do think my favorite redesign would be the White Feather, because that, again, that's kind of like, why is he called the White Feather? But whatever.
Yeah.
So everyone's got upgraded powers and abilities.
With upgraded powers and abilities come great responsibility, because apparently, they don't like these upgrades, because it makes them too serious.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, they go to stop Gridlock from, stealing the film or completing his plans with the film, and they're all super effective and everything. And you see Gridlock sets the canister of film on fire. Mm-hmm. And again, some more, only a demented devil of desperately deep depravity would deign to destroy a dream he holds so dear. Mm-hmm. And then finally, Tough Bunny is like, we're too good, we're not ourselves.
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of sweet, really, because the character of Dun Bunny, like, from what I've read over the years at DC, like, she's one of those, like, she's super strong, but she's kind of like Chrissy off of Three's Company. That, she's really this sweet, innocent type of chick at heart.
Yep.
And she's the only one that, despite the upgrade, she's the only one to recognize that they're going down the dark path. Because, you see everyone like Mary Mac, who's like formerly Mary Mac, is like, had no idea skull fracture could be so traumatic. Or Awkward Matt, or that knees could shatter so easy. So it's like, for once I got...
She just wants our friends back.
Yeah. But I like Bat-Mite realizing, for once I got it right, but maybe it was luck. Maybe it was the caffeine.
Yep. Great Caesar's ghost on a surfboard. It's gone.
That is great.
Yes, it is.
And then she still... So they part ways after realizing that it was all a distraction for Gridlock to get away with the film. Mm-hmm. And I still like that she's like, thanks, Batman.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, shucks. I love the art there, just the smile and the blush mark. He's like, guys. Mm-hmm. And so they go and I love the Bat-Mite you see as we go back to the fifth dimension, to the Council of Mites. They're watching. I love Bat-Mite's thing there. Yo, Cliffy, shotgun. There's $5 in it if you guys want to help clean up.
Yeah.
And so now the Council of Mites are sending the Sentry Silent after Bat-Mite.
Yep.
Leading us into our fifth issue.
Or final issue.
Well,
issue
sorry,
6.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Final issue. I do like the claymation or clay doll kind of cover.
Yeah.
It's not the traditional like.
I'm just waiting for Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond to show up.
Yeah. So we get into that. Apparently, I love the whole non-entity. Like, what was the point of the Federal Security Bureau, since they never factored into this story at all?
Yeah.
So what was the freaking point?
Yeah. And they go on and on about what he's done, and he's disgraced the national treasure, and he's...
I love how he disgraced Mount Rushmore. Like, he's Washington, of course Bat-Mite is, and he's drawn a mustache on Damien. And all that. And, this director Paulson is wound way too tight and kind of a priss, because he's got a Secret Service agent giving him a manicure.
Yeah.
He's like, I must look perfect and pretty in all things. Although I think, and also how he's defaced like the Grand Canyon and the Washington Monument. I want to go on that water slide. I want to go on that roller coaster.
Yeah.
The Statue of Liberty upgrade kind of makes sense.
Yeah, kind of.
And
kind of.
I like that. And you have to admit, painting the Golden Gate Bridge gold made sense.
It does make sense.
And he's like, San Franciscans are outraged. It's like maybe just in the Castro.
No. Free chicken on Fridays. Vote Jeff.
Yeah.
Just no. We do not need another Bush in office.
At first, I thought, I know that's Bernie Sanders, but at first I thought it was either Penn Jillette or he brought back Ben Franklin to in that one, and as for the Donald, well, I'm not a miracle worker. I was like, why would you even want to try?
Yeah.
And then he's talking to President Barack Obama, and the Secret Service, he bamfs out, and Weed just happens to be waiting outside on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I've never been I've been through DC, through their airport, so I've never actually been in the city. But can people actually walk on, right in front of the White House?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's snipers and security guys patrolling the grounds.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but you would think that.
If you're there, it's basically probably got a 15-minute time limit to loiter and take pictures and selfie with the White House in the background. So, I mean, of all the things that White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen got right, the idea that people are allowed to mill around outside and just looking at the White House. So I just love it's like, how was your meeting? Awesome. National defense, really? Yeah, giant robot stationed at the borders can't fail. Social policy, told him to get Republicans to think it's their idea, that he hates it, and it'll pass. Yeah. That'll work. Well, editors fall for it. and then all of a sudden, hiding in plain sight is the villain of the piece. And it's an actual political term too. Gridlock is, it doesn't really make any sense. But this Senator Hargrave is
actually Gridlock.
Yeah, and could it be? Would a venomous villain of vapid venality be so vain as to reveal himself like this? Isn't that a bit obvious? Not if he'd think I wouldn't think it's him, because you think it's too obvious to think.
Yep.
But yeah, so he goes in, he gasses Hardlock.
He gasses Bat-Mite.
Again. And you notice who's got it in a picture on the wall.
Yep.
So no wonder he's got that. And I love the whole, all of a sudden I thought it's like, wait, is this guy actually Lex Luthor? Because that is such a Gene Hackman, Richard Donner Superman thing where he's practically in the White House. He gasses Bat-Mite. He pulls off the rug on his head.
Yeah.
And we wake up with Bat-Mite strapped to a chair in Gridlock's private viewing theater. And he's basically, I'm going to kill you, but I'm going to let you watch this unreleased pilot first.
Mm-hmm. And then Bat-Mite basically makes his ultimate dream come true. He can be a part of the thing in an alternate reality. And
well, I think he actually put him into the film.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like Siskel and Ebert in Critical Condition when Slappy puts them into the Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, So Bat-Mite put Gridlock in the pilot, and
I love it's like such an emotional moment. Must you weep and get emotional every time, Trock? And then on the next page, Not Spock gets bitch slapped by Not Bones, and then Captain the Not Kirk is like, "You did this," and he starts kicking Gridlock's ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Bat-Mite, it's up to you to fashion the ending. After all, you're in the land of where the dimension of 60s television, where all endings are happy ones. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, rampaging Power Rangers mech comes through the wall.
That would be the Sentry Silence.
Yeah. Well, I say Power Rangers because it's got like the port in the middle with like Weed and Reagan have been captured.
Yeah, but he doesn't really look like a Megazord. I mean, he looks like a combination of horrible GoBot parts and some Transformers stomach stuff.
It's a giant robot, whatever. You know, so basically he wants Bat-Mite to Bat-Mite's come back to the fifth dimension. I love Reagan. I don't think Bat-Mite was afraid of anything, but he's afraid of this guy. And Weed's like, hey, is that the long-lost Galaxy Trek pilot on the screen?
Yeah.
Like, you've been kidnapped by a giant, silent mech and trapped in his chest, and you're like, hey, is that sci-fi on TV?
Mm-hmm.
So, Bat-Mite, says goodbye. And it's honestly really sad. I think, because you can see it in the art, but it's honestly kind of sad. And, I like how he's like, we need you. It's like, but you don't need me to fix you. You're perfect. And he goes, I was just kind of like, ah.
Yep. And he gets back there, and we find out that Aquaman's on the left, Wonder Woman's on the right.
It's Aquamite, Supermite, and Wondermite.
Yeah.
The JMA, the Justice Mites of America. I was like, you step out of line again, no more chance of whatever you want. Set your rules, refine your policies, lock in your guidelines. You can even stick human resources on me. I'll be good. And I love the list is like there's a new threat imperils us all. One we may not be able to overcome. Who is it? The Pause Monitor? Doommite? Gorilla Grodd-Mite? No, he would exile us into oblivion. Canceltron.
Yeah.
And I just love that. They left it open. Hopefully they'll do another miniseries if
they have to. This created between Jurgens and Corn Howell. These two are amazing.
How they don't have just like Bat-Mite animated shorts like that whole DC Nation block thing used to do on Cartoon Network, or some of like the internet only stuff like the Super Friends shorts that I've seen on YouTube. But I love the work because we're not going away, not without a heck of a fight and scene.
Yeah,
and
it even says in there, definitely not the end, or definitely not the whatever.
Well, definitely not the end. I mean, it's hopefully they'll bring it back. I do like the you got like not Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in the back there, and then like the bunch of Bizarro worlds, which I thought were kind of cute. Shout outs to Bizarro, because I'm not Superman.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I dug this series. I wish this would have become an ongoing. I mean, I know DC does a lot of kid titles. Like they have that Teen Titans Blow stuff, and they've got Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? They've got Scooby-Doo Team Up, and eventually, if I can pick and choose a few Scooby-Doo Team Up issues, we might eventually do those, like the Jetsons and the Flintstones one and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But because the only Scooby-Doo team-up issue we ever did, Steve and I did the very first issue, the very first story with Batman and Scooby. But, like, this is a series that could go on. Like, they could do this for as long as they wanted to without it needing to be in the DCU.
Well, it could be, it's like, just have Bat-Mite kind of pop in and out of various storylines, kind of like what they did with Deadpool the last few years in Marvel, where they have Deadpool's Secret Wars, or in the last ongoing Deadpool series before before Secret Wars, where they had issues where it's years ago and he's teaming up with like G-Man Nick Fury from like the early 60s, or it's only like 10 years ago and he's teaming up with like classic Power Man and Iron Fist, and the whole cover, he's got like an afro and everything on top of his hood. So, but yeah, no, I mean, this series is pure joy. I mean, like I said, I heard Pat Fraley's voice. You might hear Paul Rubin's voice. It's just, what's fun.
I mean, at this point, honestly, like I said, the best idea I had with this is Adam West is the internal monologue and Burt Ward is the actual vocal.
Yeah. Or, I mean, just even if they just got Burt Ward to voice Bat-Mite, like, they need to turn this or give Bat-Mite, like, bring back with the forthcoming DC animated films, have a couple of Bat-Mite shorts where he's trying to reconstruct Booster Gold or Blue Beetle or Martian Manhunter. Oh, that would be so good. He's like, cookies, really? Why cookies? Which is also one of my favorite lines from that Justice Society episode of... Phil Morris just had all the best lines in Absolute Justice. Because it's Phil Morris, and that dude's awesome.
Yep.
So, what do you do? Scale 1 to 5 still?
Yeah, 0 to 5.
0 to 5? Oh, this is a 5.
Absolutely. The whole series, like, I was really skeptical because I've never really been a super fan of Bat-Mite, and I wasn't sure how, like, one of the reasons why I say this series could have gone on and on and on and on is because of everything they could have done with it. If you look at that checklist on the very first issue's cover, you got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. I mean, they could have done so many more stories. I mean, I love how this one ended, and I love, what I really want now after rereading this and us going through this series, I want Justice Mite stories in the fifth dimension. That would be awesome.
And just even to the side, you have Super Mite going after Batman, and just Mixie standing off to the side, like, that's my shtick.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to see, like, with this characterization of Batman, have him deal with Firestorm.
Yeah.
And you could have, like, Ron, because at this point in the New 52, Ronnie Raymond and Jason Rush are their own Firestorms. Like, they can just become Firestorms. They don't have to bond with anybody.
Right, yeah.
But you could have it, because this is in continuity, but it's also like 3 steps to the side. So you could have Doc Martin Stein inside Ronnie's head, and Bat-Mite's inner narration could get into an argument with Dr. Stein.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then have that scene of Firestorm of Bat-Mite looking up at the sky and just yelling, "Shut up!" But yeah,
would be.
I give it a straight 5. Surprisingly, because a lot of times I found over the years when I get into miniseries, or specifically miniseries, is you can start off with one artist, you get used to that artist, and then for whatever reason, editorial or actual editorial guidelines or deadlines, a fill-in artist might have to come in for like that second last issue, and it just breaks the chain. Yeah. Which is...
See, this is one of those things where Corin Howell, to my knowledge, I'm not looking anything up, folks, she's new. This was actually the first thing I'd seen her in. After this, I saw her do some Transformers Windblade stuff. So, with her being, again, I don't know what else she's done. I'm not looking her up at this point in time. I'm just sitting here. But it's one of those things where, as far as I know, she's a new artist. So I knew, like, I could see what you're saying. They did that with a few artists, like when Jim Lee was on Superman, Batman, or whatever it was original. Like the first 2 issues, Jim Lee was on there, and then because he's the co-publisher, he's got better things to do. So let's bring in somebody else. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but this could never have worked if they got a replacement artist, because her style is all like we've already said, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, Looney Tunes, classic cartooning kind of, even the Tick kind of stuff. But just absolutely love this. I got to give the whole series a 5 as well. It's just so... People, if you're looking for a fun series to read from DC, check out the Bat-Mite 6-issue miniseries. It is just so cool. It's just so enjoyable.
And also watch some of the Bat-Mite episodes of Brave and the Bold beforehand, just to get that Paul Rubens voice stuck in your head, in case you don't have a frame of reference for who you'd want to voice this character. Like I said, Burt Ward or Pat Fraley, but yeah, total 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Coming up next week, hopefully, Spada and Scotty and I will be back, and it will be a crossover with From the Command Center because Boom Studios is launching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 0.
Aye.
124. Shut up, Alpha. And then I don't know what episode 125 is going to be. I was going to do the Dynamite series, James Bond 007 numbers 1 and 2, but I'm not too sure on that just yet. I think I might want to have episode 125 be a holiday leftover episode, and we talk the Transformers and My Little Pony holiday specials from the end of last year, Christmas last year. But yeah, and then rest of January we've got D4VE 1 to 5 in episode 126. On 127 is D4VE number 2, issues 1 to 4, and then Joe and I will be back at the end of the month for TMNT issues 51 and 52. And then, as I've already said multiple times, February is Fiendship is Friendship February, where we're doing all My Little Pony comics. Oh God. Somebody kill me now.
No.
Yeah.
You don't get off that lightly.
Yeah. All right. Where can the people find you online, sir?
You can find me somewhat sporadically on another podcast, Comic Connoisseurs, that I do with the cousin Oliver of the Geekcast Radio Network. Ben, the host.
Don't even. No. Don't even. Don't.
We do that, and
you just need to carve that out of your vocabulary right now. The Geekcast Radio Network is nowhere near associated with
a loose affiliation, maybe?
No.
Anyway, you can find me on the Comic Connoisseurs podcast and on Twitter at JT from Saskatoon.
Be sure to follow the Pullbag on Twitter at the Pullbag. Also like us on Facebook, obviously at Geekcast Radio on Twitter. I am TF2 and Mike. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
That's all, folks.
Ah, brave new world that has such putzes in it. You know, kids, a lot has changed while your old Uncle Joker's been away. New Gotham, new rules, even a new Batman.
It isn't 65 years in the future, but Legends of the Dark Knight has gone beyond. Batman Beyond, that is.
The new boy. Ears are too long and I miss the cape, but not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
Join Steve and Mike as they delve into the remaining episodes of the podcast, where they'll cover Batman Beyond, products, games, and more. Check it out only on GeekCastRadio.com.
No! It can't end this way! It can't! I guess it can. That's all, folks.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, GeekCastRadio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.